in Gaming. We are going to be doing Modern tonight for our streaming. My name is Alan Wantroba, and I'm here with
Sean Carroll.
And today we have Paul Mills playing 8-Rack against Chris Groski with 4-color humans? Or 5-color?
5-color humans.
5-color humans. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We had to get everything reset up back in the studio. Did you see who won first game?
I did not see at all what we were doing.
Okay. But we are going into sideboarding. Once again, sorry for that.
Yeah, tonight I think we should be bringing you 4 rounds of Modern. I think 4 rounds.
I think so. I didn't go downstairs to actually see, but that sounds about right for Modern here.
Yeah, I don't think I need to. Don't know how much time should be remaining. I'm not terribly familiar with the 8-Rack deck or the Humans deck, so I'm not even sure what their sideboarding plans would be.
Me neither. But from what I've seen, the Humans deck is just doing really, really good right now.
Oh yeah, no, it is a very popular. Well, I'm not gonna say it's popular, but when it's played, it usually puts out pretty good standings. 8-Rack not nearly as popular nor successful outside the hands of Tom Ross. I don't know what he does, but all he does is win.
8-Rack and Infect, that's all that Tom Ross will do.
Yeah. He is a wizard.
Also, don't worry about the time remaining in the upper right-hand corner. Like I said, we had technical difficulties, so we don't know exactly when they started. But in rounds 2 and on, we should be good for that.
Yeah, we should get that fixed up for the next round. Looks like they're still shuffling up.
The old Brian Kibler special.
Yeah.
So, if you had to take a guess, who do you think wins game 1? 8-Rack or Humans?
I would probably say 8-Rack. Like, just from what I saw, the few seconds I saw of the actual game 1, I just saw just a Mana Strider, and it looked like it was being killed by Paul Mills. So
yeah, I do remember Paul Mills doing a Fatal Push, I believe, on it, which is just such a bonkers card.
yeah, their ability to just remove all the creatures that the humans can lay down, strip their hand, and the Humans deck really doesn't have any way to interact, I don't think, main deck, save for maybe a creature or two with the 8-Rack plan. I really don't think he was able to probably pull that one out. I think he also had like 2 or 3 Aether Vials out.
Yeah, one was at
I saw at least
ticked
2.
at 1, and the other I believe was ticked at 3. And he had Caverns out, which I would assume would be Humans. So we have our opening hand for game 2. Ooh, I see a Meddling Mage over in Chris Gorski's hand. What do you think you would call against 8-Rack?
I don't know. Like, you'd want to try to turn off the 8-Rack or the Shrieking Affliction, but there's so many ways for it to be removed. You might want to name a removal spell, maybe
like Fatal Push, maybe. Because
yeah.
I think if I was Paul Mills, I would probably keep my Fatal Pushes in. Dealing with humans, they're all low mana
you don't
costs.
take that out. You never take that out. Like, all you want is removal in this matchup.
So I have been away from Modern for quite a while, and it's kind of interesting that most of the decks here, from what I would scan when I would go door to door, I don't see many Tarmogoyfs anymore. I guess with Fatal Push, that kind of slams it.
Yeah, no, that card has fallen way out of favor ever since Fatal Push and the move over to Death Shadow.
Yeah.
has kind of pushed Tarmogoyf out of the picture.
So it looks like Paul Mills, I think, took a mulligan. Yeah, he has scryed one and kept it, so it must be pretty good. And we have Caverns, probably naming humans.
And an Aether Vial.
Oh, pretty good.
So that's a really good start. A lot of the 8-rack removal is going to be sorcery speed. So Aether Vial can definitely help him dodge some of that.
And we have, I believe, an old school rack.
Yep. So that, I think it deals X damage, which is X is equal to your hand minus 4.
Yeah. Oh, there's Meddling Mage. We unfortunately do not know what Meddling Mage has been called, but like we talked about, it's probably one of the removals that
probably, or his name is Smallpox.
Smallpox is in 8-rack too.
Oh yeah, no, that's
awesome. Love Smallpox.
Yeah, which can be particularly brutal.
Well, speaking of Smallpox,
well, yes,
there it is.
He did not name Smallpox.
He did not. So we have, for those of you who may or may not know what Smallpox does, each player discards a card, loses a life, sacrifices a land and a creature. So
they should both be at 19.
19,
now.
Yes.
They each discarded a land. That creature goes away, and we each lose a land here. I assume it'll be unclaimed territory.
Yeah, well,
I don't think there's much difference.
Yeah, because unless you're playing Dash Hopes, I don't believe that you have to worry about your cards getting countered.
Yeah, definitely. And I will pretend to know what Dash Hopes is.
Ooh, is that an Aethersworn Canonist
That is an Aethersworn Canonist.
Don't know
Not
how... That's probably a sideboard option.
Well, it might be main board, but...
Oh, there's another Meddling Mage in Chris Gorski's hand.
Huh.
With a Mantis Rider. So, do you tick up the Aether Vial? Do you leave it at... I guess I would leave it at 2.
I think he's got a Belly's Lieutenant as well.
Yeah. Also, if you don't have another land in hand, I guess I would keep it at 2 just to be safe. Then you can always tick it up next turn.
Yeah.
And there's the Lieutenant.
Pretty sure there's a lot more 2-drops in the stack than 3.
And Fatal Push.
Kills the Canonist. He did not crack his Bloodstained Mire. Oh, nope, he had an Urborg, so he didn't really need to.
Oh, and Liliana.
That'll be rough.
-2. Yep.
Liliana on a basically clear board.
And the rack is now active, I believe.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Well, there's a Noble Hierarch, and he ticked it up to get the Mantis Rider out, and crashing right into Lily.
Yep, that's definitely need to get that Liliana off the board quickly. And he has a Noble Hierarch there to protect against a follow-up Liliana.
Is that a Cannon Slauson? Oh, he has Urborg. That's why he didn't crack it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that looks like an Asylum
Visitor?
Yeah.
I think it's Asylum Visitor.
Man, I don't know. Like, it's like Mantis Rider's going to hit 4 in the air.
Yeah.
Like, and I believe Paul Mills doesn't have a hand, so now would be the time that Chris Gorski can go in and just crack in without worry as of right now.
Yeah. Although he will be drawing an extra card next turn.
Yeah.
For the cost of 1 life.
It's almost like a Phyrexian Arena on a body. Minus the, you have to have no hand, but...
And Paul goes down to 15 off that Mantis Rider attack.
Now, if you were in Paul Mill's shoes, would you be nervous with the Mantis Rider coming in like this?
Not particularly.
So
I mean, he still has a couple more turns to find a way to answer it.
Yeah.
And he's drawing 2 cards a turn. The deck is full of a lot of removal.
almost goes down by 1. Yeah. And even if he drops a Liliana, it's still like you can still just Thoughtseize. Oh, that's pretty good. And we see a
Kitesteel Freebooter and a Meddling Mage.
Yeah. And the kites.
Looks like he's trying to protect something in his hand. Paul goes down to 12 off that Thoughtseize.
And he's attacking with the Silent Visitor. And he takes it.
Yeah, he doesn't really want to trade off with the Mana Strider.
Yeah.
It's too valuable of a card.
And then the rack triggers. So I believe he goes.
How many cards in his hand? 1?
He has 1 card and he drew 1.
So he should be down to 14 then.
Yes.
Because
And another attack and a trigger off the Noble Hierarch.
yeah, it should put him down to 8. He definitely needs to find an answer to that Mana Strider. If he can answer that Mana Strider, the game should be over with.
And there's an I don't know if Inquisition. Well, I guess I would probably get rid of the Noble Hierarch because that just gives Mana Strider another swing in, like another low point of damage.
It doesn't change the clock though. He just has 2 turns of 4 damage.
So we have Paul Mills at 10 and Chris Groski at 9. God, this is so close. And since we don't know who won game 1, this is also a little...
Paul Mills' life total should be 8, not 10.
Should we let Ryan... Well, let's see, because if... Oh, there it is. And I don't think it changes the clock.
It won't now, but I don't think he caught the life loss from the Thoughtseize. But I will match up with what they have on the board. I think there should be another 3 damage coming in.
Yep.
Take Chris down to 6.
And unless Paul Mills has like a Fatal Push or something in his hand, I don't...
Yeah, he needs a removal spell for that mana, or at least a way to kill a Noble Hierarch.
I guess Chris Gorski's going to draw a card off of Canopy Horizon.
He'll only take 1.
Or Horizon Canopy. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
He'll only take
Man.
1 damage, yeah.
Oh, yep. And I don't
know what's
know
in
what
his hand.
that one is. And there's attack. And there goes game 2. It goes to Chris Gorski. And let's see where this goes.
Well, looks like we're going to game 3. So
Ooh,
as
even better.
As I figured, I thought Paul Mills would win game 1. And it looked like he had. Can I? There. It looks like they're 1-1. I'm trying to figure out how to get that up on camera.
It would be under the scoreboard, rounds and records, I believe. Yeah, player 1.
Okay.
Yeah, score.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Alan.
You're welcome. See, I pay attention to some things. I don't pay attention a lot, but when I do, you know, it just helps everyone out a little bit.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Well, I still think Paul is favored in this matchup.
Well, Paul also gets to go first, so that means his discard is still active first to get rid of any nuisances early games.
Well, I'm betting he will choose to draw because he doesn't want Chris Corsi to get any extra cards in his hand.
Ah, that is very smart.
So usually 8-rack players will choose to draw. But, yeah, no, like that game looked very winnable for Paul. He just needed one more removal spell for that Mana Strider, and it felt like he probably had that game locked up.
Yeah. Unfortunately we couldn't see the cards in Paul Mills' hand during that, but I guess it really didn't matter in in the retrospect of the game. Yeah. But we are Brian Kiblering right now. We're shuffling. And while they cut, I just want to say thanks to everyone watching. And I want to thank you, Sean, for coming up here and helping me out on this one.
It's no problem.
And like I said, anyone who is just tuning in, we know that the time remaining, negative 33 minutes, is not correct. We've had some technical difficulties starting the stream, and we started a little bit late. So our next... Oh, and there's a Thoughtseize.
I guess he chose to play this time.
Yep, Chris remembered this time.
Hey, here we go.
So Thoughtseize is gonna grab
Champion of the Pairs.
Yep.
Is only turn 1 drop. It looks like a I saw a
there was a Mayor of Havenbrook.
Mayor of Havenbrook.
Yes.
The Manus Rider and a Zathrid Necromancer.
Which, if you get their turn 1 play, I mean...
Yeah, it's definitely slowed him.
Well, is he going to pay 2 life? Yes, he is for it. No.
Oh.
The safest cards in anyone's hand is always on the top of their deck. I always found that out.
Looks like we suffered the Moto bug. Sees the card, immediately gets drawn off the top.
And we have Raven's Cry.
Raven's Crime gets a card out of Chris Gorski's hand.
And it has Retrace.
Yeah.
I know this because when I used to play Modern, I played Living End. And that was... Living Death, Living End was...
Living End.
Living End.
Living End.
Yeah. And that was one of the key cards in it to get your discards out.
Huh. Interesting.
Well, we played it in sideboard.
Okay.
I believe Chris should be at 18 because he paid 2 for that Hallowed Fountain.
Oh, you are correct, sir.
And he's retracing.
Wow, and you got the Zathrid and the
Mayor of Havenbrook. Man, I remember whenever Mayor... Oh, and here's our old buddy, Ethersworn Canonist, and ticks up for 2 for the champion.
Well, let's see. Unfortunately, Liliana would not be the best right now on this board.
No. There's a Shrieking. Yep. Well, so if you were playing 8-rack against aggro decks like this, would you put anything in sideboard to kind of combat like a nice little sweeper, like a Damnation, or what would you?
Actually, probably a Bontu's Last Reckoning.
Bontu,
would work.
For anyone who doesn't know what Bontu's Last Reckoning is, it's 1 black for a sorcery, destroy all creatures, but your lands don't untap for a turn. Which, I mean, if you're playing 8-rack, it doesn't really matter, in a sense. Because your board's always going to be active as long as you have the rack or Shrieking Affliction or something like that out. And
with your Smallpox, you tend to knock out a lot of lands on your opponent's side, so their ability to reflood the board with you tapped out shouldn't be nearly as bad.
Yeah. And we have a Windswept Teeth cracked. So Chris goes to 17 as he finds...
Probably going to be a dual land.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
Let's see where we go. Oh, no, Basic Plains.
Well, he also has a Manus Rider in his hand.
He does.
So that's probably what's going to be played. The Ziggurat will probably be the red source for it.
I guess
he got the Plains because he didn't want to lose too much life.
Yeah.
And here's the Manus Rider.
This feels like it's going to be a flat-out race, and with the 5-color rainbow lands that they have in this deck, the mana that you actually need.
Oh
the
my goodness!
Mana.
So we're getting 5/8. Ooh.
Oh, there's
a murderous cut.
Yep.
So instead, he just takes 5.
Yeah. Still not the best for Paul Mills right now. Definitely needs to get that Manus Rider off the board.
There's a Raven's Cry, and that gets rid of the Noble Hierarch, which I don't know if I would even play it at this point, because I'd rather just hit for 5 rather than 4. Gosh. Manus Rider is so good for a 3-drop.
Yeah. It is.
And another 5, which takes him down to 6. And another Nibble Hierarch. This is the second time this game where Paul Mills has discarded or forced Chris Gorski to discard a card only to have RNG say, no, you're meant to have this. And Urborg with Smallpox. I don't believe... Well, I guess this gives him another turn.
Yeah. No, it won't.
No, it won't because he loses a life.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That is... Good game, Chris Gorski and Paul Mills. Chris Gorski takes the match 2-1. I guess that's the one thing that I personally dislike about discard decks is that, yeah, you're forcing the opponent to discard cards, but unless you have like a lot of spot removal or something to get rid of the creatures on board, discarding really doesn't mean anything in a sense. I mean, you get some threats out of your opponent's hand, which is really good. He got Mayor of Avonbrook and the Zatharid Necromancer, but
there's the Bontu's Last Record.
Oh, there is Bontu's Last Record. See, Paul Mills knows where it's at.
Yeah, unfortunately, you really want to be able to disrupt their game plan with the discard and the ability to destroy lands. Unfortunately, the humans deck is just chock full of creatures that they can get on the board rather quickly, and with the Aether Vial, they can largely get around your land destruction.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that I saw that wasn't a creature spell in Chris Gorski in both games that we were paying attention was like Aether Vial was the only non-creature spell that he plays.
Yeah.
Or he played, at least from what we saw. We don't have deck lists up here, so we can't confirm nor deny that, but it seemed like Chris Gorski did not have like any pump spells, which I guess you don't really need.
No, those decks are normally
because your humans just kind of help each other out.
Yeah, normally humans deck doesn't run any non-creature spells other than Aether Vial. So no, it's just chock full of creatures to try to avoid inconsistent draws. You want to be able to, you're an aggressive deck. You really want to be able to put pressure on them, and you need to start running out creatures 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Well, not 4, but
yeah. You need to basically play. You need to hit your 1-drop, your 2-drop, and your 3-drop all.
You need to play on curve.
Yeah.
All right.
Well then, we will be back as soon as the next round shows up.
Yeah, unfortunately, we started later than the round did here because of our technical difficulties, so I don't think there's any more games being played. Pretty sure this is the last one. We will go look to see if we can get somebody else, but most likely we will be back for round 2.
Yeah.